G'day everyone. As Pete said, we're live on Sky News, but I feel this next instalment of the Bush Summit should perhaps be going out on Fox Sports' main event pay-per-view channel. And they've both promised me that they're going to play nice. We are going to get to nuclear, but I'd like to start with the renewables rollout. Barnaby, how divisive is this issue?
This piece of legislation from 2020 is probably the most divisive thing that's happened in my time in politics. It has split communities completely down the middle. It has made good friends become pathologically at each other's throats. I've seen people just abuse another person straight to their face in front of other people. And the reason it does that is on the premise of this. Number one, intermittent, it's not renewable. Please don't call it renewable. It's intermittent power. It's intermittent power, and there is not a major economy in the world that works on it. In Germany, in the last last half, their power prices were 41% higher than other parts of Europe. A third of their economy wants to leave. And what we're doing, what's happened is this has been intruded on us, thrown on us. They're not putting it off Bondi Beach. They're not putting it transmission lines through Mossman. They just came out and said, we're going to have these reses, aren't they wonderful? We're going to have these reses. And what happened to us is we just woke up one day with the diminution of the value of our land, the transmission line over our property, with swindle factories, the so-called wind towers, this forlorn and becoming obsolete, to become future landfill around us. And what have we done to the poor person in the poor town? We've made it so she can't afford her power bill. We've humiliated her. We've made her poorer. We've dragged her down. And at a time where our nation should be becoming as powerful as possible, we're making our nation powerless. And if it was going to work, I'll give you an example. Go to Alice Springs, 25,000 people, no heavy industry, lots of sun, lots of wind. See if you can make it work there before you inflict it on our whole damn nation.
Matt, Barnaby says that renewables can't power any country. What do you say to that?
Well, I'd say that AEMO, the Australian Energy Market Operator, the engineers that we trust to rely our energy system, have a different view. I'd say that the CSIRO, the best scientists, an organisation, an institution with the best economists, scientists, a respected institution, say differently. So we should be making this debate about economics and engineering, not ideology. And that's what energy policy should be all about. Whether we get energy to our house when we need it and our bills are as low as possible. And the facts are these, that the reality is that today, the cheapest way of delivering reliable energy is firmed renewables. That's, again, not me saying that. That's the CSIRO, one of our most trusted institutions, and AEMO, the engineers who run our energy system. So we either believe the experts or we don't. Okay. And I'm for the experts.
I've grown up in the Wizard of Oz. I mean, honestly, I tell you where the truth lies. Ladies and gentlemen, when you get that little thing in the mail with a box in it called the power bill, there lies the truth. Now, I'm going to pose one question to you. Forget about AEMO and we here, there, quoting all this fantasia of what might happen in the future. Has that power bill been going up or down? I mean, last quarter, our inflation rate, if they hadn't put up, with the subsidies, your power went up by 6% annualised. Without it, it would have gone up by 12%. Name me the country in the world, the world's a big place, where intermittent power, this intermittent swindle, has worked. And why do they do it, ladies and gentlemen? Why do they do it? These capacity investment schemes, secret agreements, we're not allowed to know about it, to encourage people to have no risk and get a return by putting in these swindle factories across our land. I mean, where's the country where it works, Matt?
I think Barnaby's
Which
right.
country does it work in?
I think Barnaby's right. Power bills are going up.
Yes.
They are going up. Cost of living is crippling people right around the country at the moment. Okay? And what we do know is that power bills are going up for two very clear reasons. One, there's a war in the Ukraine. That has pushed the wholesale price. That has pushed the wholesale price of coal up. It's gone up almost 300%.
We're not using
that feeds. Well, can we just talk about the facts? actually.
Well, I am.
So coal is going up. That's feeding through to electricity prices. That's pushing the price of electricity up. And that has been a trend since the war started, largely because Europe blocked gas from Russia. That means they're turning on their coal-fired power stations, they're pulling resources offshore. The majority of our resources are going offshore to power other economies. That's the first point. Could I just finish with the second point? The second point is that supply is coming out of the system because these power plants are old. It's got nothing to do with climate change. It's got everything to do with the fact that they're old kit. They were built in the 70s and they're end of life. We need to build more supply into the system. More supply will put downward pressure on prices. And that's how we help those people that are being hurt by higher energy.
Take you on
more
all
supply
that.
into the system.
We used to have the cheapest power in the world, and now we've got some of the dearest power in the world. Now, if what he said was correct, remember I posed the question, name me one country in the globe where intermittent power has A, driven an industrialised economy, and B, made power prices cheap, and he couldn't give us one, okay? Now, he couldn't... No, my turn now, my turn. The second thing is...
You want me to respond?
The second thing is... You've had your turn, mate. The second thing is this. If what he says is correct, it's about the war in the Ukraine, it's about gas in the Nord Pipe Stream and all that, well, why is Finland's power cheaper than us? Why is France's power cheaper than us? Why are these other countries, except Germany, which has completely botched it, why is their power cheaper than us? They live in the middle of this catastrophe.
Well, you can't compare Finland to Australia.
We have gone on a crazy journey.
That's not true. Finland's power system is different to Australia's power system.
Why?
France's power system is different to Australia's power system. Let
him speak, please.
We have a system that was built on coal. Those ageing coal-fired power stations are getting older, they're becoming less reliable, and they're coming out of the system. They need to be replaced. And the cheapest way to replace them, again, according to the experts, is firmed renewables. That's renewables with batteries, gas, those technologies. That's what will bring down power prices. That is renewables, firmed renewables, according to the CSIRO, are cheaper than coal, and they're far cheaper than nuclear. So, well, hang on. They're the facts. They're the facts in an Australian context.
No, you are. This is a home ground game for you. You talk about this as if you have no say in it. You were in government for 9 years.
Yep.
The prices were rising during that time as well. What do you say is the solution to rising power bills now? You
have to get baseload power onto the system.
But you didn't build any.
So-called renewables are intermittent power.
You didn't build any baseload power.
Now, he left out a very crucial thing. He said that Finland's power system is different and France is different. But he left out a crucial point, because it's got nuclear. That's what's different about it.
Okay.
But, of course, they don't believe in that. Why don't they believe in that?
But if you were so committed to it, you didn't build any nuclear during that time.
Well, hang on. It's your legislation cyclone at a state level that doesn't allow us to build it, and also at a federal level. And I'll give you another quote.
You could have done something about it, Barnaby. You could have done something. You were the Deputy Prime Minister of the country, Barnaby.
I've changed my mind. What do you do, sir? Well, I tell you what, a lot of people, the facts have changed and they've changed their mind. But, of course, the swindle factories are holding it. They don't want nuclear power because that is competition. And they don't believe in that.
So the earliest we could see nuclear is after 2035. Power bills are going up now. They're going to keep on going up. What do you say is the solution today?
Well, we're seeing it even at a state level. They're keeping they're keeping Eraring open for more than they actually sold it for. I mean, and I acknowledge that was a coalition that was in state level that sold it. Don't know why they did that. But they actually have to keep that baseload going. We are going to be mugged by reality on this one, because if we go down this path, ladies and gentlemen, the lights are going to go out and the poor become poorer. And that is who we're supposed to be looking after, number one. The dignity of that person in their house to be able to have electricity. We are losing that in this nation. And, of course, the schmoozers, I'll actually check you on that. If you believe this is so virtuous, when you were the minister, they're so virtuous because so enlightened. Why didn't you say, well, then the government will be responsible for the decommissioning and rehabilitation of the land after the swindle factories, the wind towers, become obsolete? Why did you leave that on the farmer's chit?
Well,
But Barnaby, so do you have any evidence that farmers actually do have to pay for the repair?
Yeah, absolutely.
Where has it happened?
I'll give you one of the things. Murray Watt in the Senate estimates. We should put it online for you so you can all read it. And they say, well, And it was actually Senator Rennick who asked him, he said, look, who's responsible for decommissioning these and pulling it down? And he went, well, you have to look at your lease agreements on that. You have to look at your lease agreements. Well, they are looking at the lease agreements. And guess what? The farmers are responsible for it. It's basically a sale and lease back arrangement.
Barnaby, I have to pull you up on that. The Clean Energy Council says that the project owner will either decommission the site, restoring the area to its previous land use, or negotiate with land users, landowners, to repower or upgrade the equipment or extend the wind farm.
I'm happy to take you on that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, first of all, I said, why didn't the government underwrite it? See, what happens is, you'll have a company in Shanghai and it gets the DA through and then it flips the deal and then it flips the deal again and it goes 15 steps away, and of course you're left with a $2 shelf company which is apparently going to decommission and rehabilitate the site.
My question is, has it happened?
Why didn't the government say it was going to do it? Because it costs a bucket load of money. And the latest report, I think it was McCulloch Robson, came out and said between $400,000 to $600,000 a tower.
Has it happened?
A tower. Well, what has decommissioning sites happened?
Has a farmer in Australia been left to deal with a wind turbine that at the end of the life of a farm? As
these are coming on, we're going to come up in the next few years of the decommissioning of these sites. The first sites, even around Glen, has 3 megawatt towers. They don't build 3 megawatt towers anymore. They're 8 megawatt towers. So what do you reckon is going to happen to 3 megawatt towers when, as like everything, static technology becomes obsolete? Who's pulling these things down?
I want to switch. You can have a chance.
I think we're trying to help people now. We need new generation built into the system right now to put downward pressure on bills. We can't wait. Barnaby's talking about something in 20 years. We can't wait 20 years. We've got to help people now. And the best way to help people now is to build more supply into the system. That's what's put downward pressure on prices. That's what will help with power bills immediately.
Are you personally opposed to nuclear?
I'm supportive of the facts. I'm not opposed to nuclear per se, but it needs to be helping with people's power bills and it needs to be delivered. And let's get the facts on the table. Nuclear is 3 to 5 times more expensive than firm renewables. That's what the CSIRO says. Take it up with the CSIRO.
CSIRO is an Australian organisation.
That's right, a trusted institution.
All the other countries are wrong.
Developed Wi-Fi, developed Bluetooth, helps our farmers with soil crops.
Finland's wrong, China's wrong, Russia's wrong.
Our farmers trust the CSIRO. That's good enough for me, and I trust them as well.
United Arab Emirates wrong. They're all wrong. We are the only smart ones. Chris Bowen, the CSIRO are the intelligent ones, and we are the only ones in step.
Barnaby, can I ask you?
Just because you're talking doesn't help people lower their power bills in 20 years' time. We need to help people now, and it's renewables that will do that now.
Global facts.
Barnaby, during the 9 years, during the 9 years of the coalition government, did you try to get nuclear up in Australia?
All the time. And I could go through.
Why didn't it happen?
Because they say, the polling doesn't agree with
Who said that?
But you were the Deputy Prime Minister.
Scott Morrison said that to you?
Absolutely, 100%.
He said that the polling didn't support...
That's correct.
Yeah, and so it didn't go ahead.
Well, that's...
Because the government you're a part of wasn't willing to take on that fight.
And we've continued fighting, and now the opposition is taking it on. That's what happens in politics. You just fight, and then you finally get there, and we're there. But, of course, I mean, listen, if it was so dear, ladies and gentlemen, why don't we just remove the prohibitions so you can build them if you want to, and then the market would say, it's ridiculous, CSIRO's got a report, says you can't do it. But they've still got the prohibitions in place. You know why? Because they actually know it works.
But notwithstanding that, even if you remove the prohibition, you can't deliver it for 20 years. That's not going to help people today.
The prohibition.
But it's not going to help people today.
Why can't you remove the prohibition?
You're the politician. I'm not a politician.
You brought it in.
I'm the independent chair of the Climate Authority.
The independent chair
of you to do those things.
The independent chair of Chris Bowen.
Up to you to do those things,
The opposition's plan is not for the market.
Manly being the independent ref.
The opposition's proposal is not for the market to build nuclear. It's for the government to build nuclear, for the taxpayer to build nuclear.
Remove the prohibitions. And then we can have an honest debate.
So in 20 years' time, that'll be great, Barnaby. But we need to help people today with cost of living pressures, and that's why we need to get on with building things that are available that we know will put downward pressure on prices.
The price is going up, not down.
It doesn't matter what you say, Barnaby. It's not helping people with cost of living today.
Of course, it doesn't matter what I say.
We need to get new generation built now. We can't wait.
Of course, it doesn't matter what I say, Matt.
But we can't wait, Barnaby.
The facts are the price is going through the roof. Is there one person in this room who thinks the price of electricity is going down?
Barnaby, when we started, you were telling us about how the renewables rollout is the most divisive issue in regional Australia.
Absolutely, 100%.
When the coalition announced its nuclear proposal, did it do enough consultation with the 7 communities before it made that announcement?
Well, I've been going into places such as Muswellbrook continually, okay, and and it's not only me; it's Newcastle Herald. I suppose that's maybe competition. I don't know, is that in your stable?
Not today, it's not.
Okay. They've done polling on the area. It's actually in support of nuclear power. What you have is people who had black rocks that used to boil water, create steam and turn a turbine, and they're very power literate, and so now we've got a different rock that boils water, creates steam and turns a turbine. The electricians get their jobs back, the boilermakers get their jobs back, the fitters and turners make their jobs back. We can use the centralised spot there. We can use the existing transmission lines, not a whole wave of new transmission trash all over the countryside, to a form of power that globally just doesn't work.
Well, that might be great in 20 years, Barnaby, but we've got to deal with cost of living.
So we're going to wreck the place for the next 20 years.
No, we need to
create
get new supply into the system to put downward pressure on bills. Helping more supply and lower bills means families are better off, businesses are better off, and our country is better off. Barnaby's got a plan for 20 years. Good luck. We need to help people now, and that's why we need to get on with the job and support our economy now.
You're hurting people. You have communities at each other's throats.
But you have no plan to help people now, Barnaby, when they need it.
Even the Labor Party is keeping a raring open. We've got a plan to transition to nuclear. We've got a plan to use the existing.
Should more coal-fired power stations stay open for longer?
I think that it's not only should they are, and it's under the Labor Party that they are. Why? It's called reality. It mugs you, and this is what's happening. This intermittent power. We're going to run Australia on 82% intermittent.
Let's talk about the reality.
2030. I mean,
these coal-fired power stations,
planet are we
even
on?
if you try and extend them, it doesn't make them more reliable. They are not going to survive for the 20 years that Barnaby's saying we can wait till new technology.
Which nation, seeing that so good, which nation on earth has run a modern economy? You can't run a full-time economy on part-time power.
No one's suggesting that, Barnaby. No one's suggesting that. What we're suggesting is we need more supply into the system right now to put downward pressure on bills, Barnaby. We seem to have a plan to delay building new supply and driving up power bills.
You're accelerating a disaster, not delaying a plan.
We're accelerating putting downward pressure on power bills, Barnaby. That's what we're trying to do.
They're not putting downward pressure on power bills. It's going through the roof. I mean, do you get a power bill? Have you ever looked at it?
More supply means lower power bills. We need more supply into the system. They're the facts, Barnaby.
That's a talking point.
It's not a talking point.
Gentlemen, we are out of time. That was great. That was great. I almost didn't need to be here. I was redundant. So thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate you both being here. It's obviously it's a heated issue, so to speak, but it's through having forums like this that we can make progress. Thanks.
Okay.
Thanks, Bill.
Thanks, mate.